Hello. So let's talk about the non-banner units. So that will be Ryoshu Ego and Sinclair. So let's go to Sinclair first. Sinclair is here, Molar Works Fixer. I believe it's supposed to be Rain. Okay. So for Sinclair, he is, I would say, a 0-0 unit. He is pretty much average. There is nothing special about him. Okay, so what is he all about? Sinclair is all about tremor count. He needs to gain a lot of tremor count in order to apply it or give it away. So it's actually quite interesting how he works. The problem, I think, is that there is currently no other way to gain the tremor count except the character. So it's very, very slow and inconsistent for him to get the ability. So what's going on here? Let's look at Fierce Assault. 4-coin move, but it's all +1s, so really bad. But then if you add this +1 coin power, it all becomes +2s, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, about average. So it takes quite a lot of effort to even hit average. You need 10 plus tremor count. Can he get that amount? It's very slow. Gain 2, gain 2. This is inflict, take note. Inflict means you pass it on to the enemy, not yourself. So gain 2, so 4. But take note that at the end of turn, tremor count gets reduced by 1. So he only gets 3 realistically. Skill 2, 4 to 12, pretty good range. Gain 6 tremor count, inflict 6 tremor. Remember that you get -1 at the end of turn, so it's 5 here. So in order to get to 10 plus tremor, you will need to gain this, that's 3, then gain 5, and then gain 3 again. So it's, as you can see, it's really hard to hit this tremor count alone. You have to do like maybe 2 skill 2s, and then you'll be able to get it. Which is why I guess this is called steady, and then fierce assault. So the wording makes sense. So you want to steady, and then you fierce assault. So that makes the most sense to me. Yep, so skill 2 is actually the most important skill in this kit because it's all about being steady and then you fierce assault. Right, so besides that, we have Gamble. 4 plus 6 plus 6. That's 12 plus 4, 16. Yeah, 16. 16 is pretty good. Coin power +1 for every 10 tremor count. So as you can see, you can steady into Gamble, for example. Yeah, it takes really long to effectively use this. But what does this skill do, besides the coin power, is that at 10 plus tremor count, you spend all of it to inflict the target with the same amount. So you can transfer 10. But if you have less than 10, then you gain 10 tremor and you burst tremor on yourself. So it's very important for you to hit 10 plus tremor before you even think of using this skill. Otherwise, you are just going to burst yourself, which is actually insane. I'm surprised at this effect here. This deal blunt damage equal to tremor burst damage is on a self-harming skill. If this was on an attack skill, that would make tremor burst even better. Because tremor burst currently, they don't do any extra damage once you have bursted all of the target stagger bars. So if you have this line here on every character that does burst, they will become very, very good characters. So yeah, I'm very surprised that this line appears on a self-damaging one, which is very interesting. So yeah, basically this skill, only use it when you have 10 plus tremor and nothing else. Yep. Okay, and then the defense is gain rupture protection. You could be using this. He's not particularly tanky, 153 HP only, so it's not ideal to use this, but 16 is a pretty sizable shield. Gain 1 rupture protection. This only really matters for the event, so not for anywhere else. I mean, that's why it's called Crab Bastards. But yeah, so yeah, and then lastly is passive. On hit with hits coins at 10 plus tremor count on self. Inflict +1 tremor and tremor count with coin effects. So when you hit 10, which is 2 uses of steady, you start gaining +1s from this. So this becomes 3, 2, 3, 2. So that's about gaining 6 from this skill. And you get 7 from this skill. Yep, so ultimately, you will still need to take about 2 uses of steady to even consider using any of the other skills. So I think that this character is quite interesting. I don't think it's worth the resources. Because there's... Okay, to be fair, Sinclair Talisman's pretty good now. Has +3 rupture count if you want to do that. This one is a tremor count, Sinclair. And then we got Enclair for Encop Gang. And then we got the 2 egos. Well, you probably won't be using Lifetimes 2, so you will probably only be looking at... what's his name? Impending Day, yeah. Yeah, so that's about 4 characters for Sinclair, so that's quite a lot of shards. So it's really up to you. If you want to use tremor count character here, I think this character is actually quite okay as a 0-0. this part here is the more interesting part. I think it's quite interesting that two of the Sinclairs, the Talisman and Bulwark's Fixer, are actually for the two different archetypes. So we got one for Rupture and we got one for Tremor. So honestly, it's quite interesting. Seeing him as a support character is really nice. Yep. So I like it a lot, but I wouldn't recommend people to invest unless they have spares or they really want to do Tremor stuff. Alright. Then besides that, we have Ryoshu. Ryoshu's the one that I'm very sus about because I don't think she actually does anything interesting. So on hit, it's a 2 AoE, so 6 costs, that's pretty okay. And it's a Zayn. So Zayns are usually 4, so plus 2 for AoE makes sense. 25 2 AoE. Inflict 6 sinking. On kill, gain 3 ego resources of a random affinity and all allies heal 3 SP. I guess you could use this if you need a cheap option, but the base ego actually applies 2 fragility nowadays, so I would prefer the fragility over this. On kill, gain 3 ego resources. It's not guaranteed to refund this. It just gives you about the same amount of ego resources you used, so it's nice. And all allies heal 3 SP is great. Inflict 6 sinking, sure, whatever. It's a piercing move. For corroded version, negative coin. There's no Ryoshu negative coiner, so you would be doing 14 most of the time in an AoE. Inflict 6 sinking and all allies gain +1 ego resource app. Apply haste next turn. So it doesn't actually say the number of haste here. I assume it's 1. But yeah, this doesn't look very good to me. Gaining only +1 ego resource amp on a corroded / overclock. It's a bit not cost effective or net 0 cost effectiveness. I am not a fan of this ego, so I probably won't recommend building this ego. The passive is pretty good for sinking teams, I will say. So hopefully a sinking Ryoshu will come out to support the sinking team that we have right now. On hit, if the target has 5+ sinking, you inflict 1 defense power down. But unfortunately, this defense power down thing is kind of weird because there are currently no defenses that are super high and we need to always be managing it, so I do not see a reason for this passive yet. Good thing is that we get this ego for free anyway, so if we need it in the future, we can always just build it. Yep, so that is it for the non-paid stuff. In general, I think that Sinclair is quite interesting for Tremor count stuff. You can really apply a lot, but it takes a little while. It needs 2 uses of steady, so yeah, you need only on turn 3 then you'll be able to transfer the 10 Tremor count. But it is good in that he enables Rose Spanner, because Rose Spanner, right? The Rose Spanner units, besides Rodion, they consume a lot of the Tremor. Like this one bursts and reduces it by 3, and then you raise the stagger threshold by this amount. And then we have Gregor, who does kind of the same thing, where he bursts Tremor, reduced by 2, and then spends his charge count to apply Rupture count. Yep, so a little bit of different flavor here, but still the same thoughts. Yeah. So he enables Rose Spanner to build up lots and lots of Tremor count, and then he can just keep adding on to the Tremor. So I think overall quite a solid unit. The problem remains that the Tremor gang does not have a line that says on burst, deal blunt damage equal to the burst damage. Because once you've bursted a target's limb, and as some bosses, right, they only have 1 burst threshold, so if you burst that, right, what else are you going to do with the burst? Right, it's not actually a DPS increase, it's just helping you get to the DPS window, and if you cannot burst the boss, which is probably very thick, then you will be in a bit of trouble, because there's really nothing else your Rose Spanner gang or Tremor gang is gonna do. But I think it's good that they've done this. At least they show that this clause can exist in the future. The blunt damage based on Tremor is really good. And maybe in the future we will get a blunt character that will burst Tremor and then do that. And then that would be where all of the Tremor stacking would actually come into play, and you can do a Tremor team to clear content. So I think that is a very good sign of the future. Yep. So Sinclair looking real good. Ryoshu, I don't see a use, but you're getting it for free anyway. Just need to farm to 2000. So yeah, just take it and just keep it for in case sinking needs defense power down. Then we can build that up. All right. So I think that's it for this one. Really short because there's really not much else to talk about. And I hope you guys enjoyed the event. And thanks for watching. Bye bye.